Are we streaming? Are we going yet? Okay, I think we're live. Live with the studio audience. Not really, for legal reasons. Why am I signed out? Sorry. I can't see any messages until I sign in again, I guess. I don't know why I'm being made to sign back in. Chat, please. Why? Oh, I can see chat. Welcome. Hello, everybody. I am a little bit late. Thank you for Sleeveless for letting me know on the Discord. I did forget, but thankfully Sleeveless was like instant on it. Already knew beforehand that I was being an idiot. I guess I can't send a message, but at least I can still see your chats. That's all that I really care about. If I want to send a message, I'll worry about that another time. So, what have all been you guys working on? I have some more stuff done with the macro creator. It's just not finished yet. There's a few mostly finalizing features and correcting fixes and general QA that I have to do for it before it's like actually done. But we can probably show it off today and see some new features because it's some really cool stuff I got going on. I can also show what I just finished developing because I just discovered this thing that I didn't know existed before. So I can show that off right now if I want to actually. Let me get my image in here. Can I turn on fading for this actually? Show transition. Oh, it is set to fade. It just doesn't fade half the time. So this is Orson. Say hi to Orson. This is me and him testing out SnapPod. Seeing if it all worked fine on Windows and installing it and everything worked fine. But I did develop a script. This is while I was working with Orson. Is it going to be released the date you said, or will it be delayed? It will be delayed by I'm saying max a week. I'm hoping to just have it done by this weekend so I can send it off to YouTubers, people for testing and all that stuff this weekend. Or not this weekend as in like today and tomorrow, but the weekend following this one. So I just needed more time to get some more finished to make it feel more finished for release. Otherwise, it would have felt half finished because I needed to fix things and I had to get a bunch of stuff ready for the actual release for like displaying it, like websites, copy, the text for websites, images, graphics, details, like every single web page I have to develop that's going to tell you information about it. I have to make a bunch of tutorials for this so that everybody knows how to use this. So it's just piling up. So I figured that extending it out by a week wouldn't be too bad. It is now going to be releasing the same week as ResolveCon, which still could be a really good thing. So that's why I'm also sending out the emails to the YouTubers a week early, so that hopefully they'll start looking at their emails around that time, and hopefully they'll see it and make a video about it beforehand. So I'm hoping that we'll have some comments about it at ResolveCon, but who knows? They may just stay on topic. But I made a a caption generator for Resolve. This is exactly the same thing as the built-in one. I just literally copied it exactly. But this is more of just like, hey, this is a test to see how everything works. And the fact that you can incorporate this into scripts to generate captions first and then do stuff with the captions, which is something that I proposed for Snap Captions, just as a little between us. So this may be appearing in Snap Captions in the future. But you can generate the subtitles. It literally analyzes, generates everything. And I also, for myself, I have it in the console. It tells you how long it took, just for letting you know. But yeah, you can see this prints out everything pretty dang well. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know a bunch of uses for this besides like a Snap Captions equivalent, So I don't know. But this obviously is studio only, because free version doesn't have auto captions. So it definitely would be like a studio only feature. But if it's an optional feature for snap captions, then that works. But I can show you guys some stuff with the macro creator in my favorite composition for this, apparently. But before that, are there any questions about today's video or macros or scripts? Or the new macro creator? Thought I'd cover any questions before I just hop into doing stuff. And somebody was asking about how to do why Lua was so hard. I don't know, man. The video was too advanced for you. What parts of it were advanced? I feel like I was mostly just like copying code and it was just like repeated the same processes over and over again. Was there anything that stood out to you that was extremely too hard? You got further with your buttons though? Good job, Sleeveless. I know that you've had issues with I don't know exactly which parts in particular you're having problems with paying attention mostly. No, I say that jestingly because uh, just make sure your inputs are named the correct things. Just copying and pasting them won't work all the time. Well, just the hiders. I told you before I have traumas with that. Ah, yes, true. Especially with like the first beta for Resolve. That's what gave me all the trauma. Hey, you skimmed a step or two? I don't think so. I maybe had made a mistake and went back and revised it. But just like what they say in Doctor Strange, why do you put the warnings after the spells? You know, I maybe should correct it while I'm messing it up, so that you can know as you're watching it. Oh, this is wrong. I should maybe either continue watching, or just do the fix. I appreciate you liking the Discord, man. It's a lot of fun. I've always wanted to make a Discord that had a like nice community of people who would just chat without my direct need for influencing them to talk. Like I don't have to like prompt you guys with events or crazy special things. You guys just out of the kindness of your heart just want to help each other, and that's awesome. I think it's great. It's not even like me. It's just I have the Discord and I make the videos and people just come and be themselves and they're awesome people. So thank you to everybody who's in there. It's not just a me thing. Now I'm sitting here in silence because there's no more questions coming in. Seriously though, you guys are great. Like people are always asking questions, really stretching the idea of what is possible with this API, and just general great ideas for like tools you can make or a bunch of different things you could potentially do with the code. And then the discoveries we've been making, the bugs we've been finding, all sorts of great stuff. I don't have any music going, do I? I didn't think about that because I started the stream a little bit late. Let me get some songs going. Let me get some tunes. Let's see. Do we want to go for like video game vibes today? I haven't been too active, but still make macros and scripts. Yeah, no, that's fine. As long as you are still working on your own stuff, I don't care. Like even if you're not in the Discord, you're still probably doing stuff. I mean, as long as you're working on it at least once a week, that's pretty good progress. Like that is still learning, that is still growing. You don't need to ask questions all the time, but you're working on it yourself in your own pace, and that's great. What did you think of Page's macro? I haven't actually opened it up yet. That's what we are going to be looking at today, here in a few. I just want to get some stuff rolling. Video game music. Probably should put in like royalty free or something. Copyright free. They're never true though. I'm always getting hit by like copyright claims. They don't have any effect because they're like, oh, this has been permitted to be used, but it's still annoying to see it like, hey, this is royalty free, but also it's not. Let's play some Sonic songs. How's the audio? Is that too quiet? Why do I sound like a surfer? That seems maybe like a pretty good decent volume. I feel like my voice is still pretty quiet with only having 8 dB increased. But yeah, it should be fine. Let's go ahead and download Peach's macro. I did take a look at it slightly when I was on my phone last night. But yeah, he sent that at like almost 2 a.m. my time, so I was barely awake at the time. Let's see. Put it in this column? I know you guys can't see it, I'm just setting it up. Okay. Looks like he didn't hide a page. I know, once again, I know you guys can't see it. I'm just taking a look at it really quick. Just to get my own eyes on it first. Okay, I see preset update button. Okay. Alright, let's go and take a look at this together now. So this is Wave Warp, and I'm sure if I have an actual clip in here, we can see it doing stuff. Just toss me in here. Yep. Yeah, it does stuff. It's goofy. And we can change it to like triangles. Oh, okay, blocks. Saw. Okay. Circle. That one almost didn't work for a second. Sine oscillating. Oh, I haven't updated the stuff here. Is it lagging me? Oh, jeez. I feel like I was in like 1 frame per second for a second. Sure. Yeah, back to sine. Alright. So the oscillating was just from, what was that, white wave offset or something? This is pretty cool. Pin controls is this. Okay. Blank point. Is that when it won't be a... I don't know what these points mean is the only issue. Also, what's this vertical line? Ah, okay. The pin blend is where I got a little bit confusing. Maybe making that a toggle. I don't know. The blend is okay, but maybe making it a toggle and then having it like having a blend as a part of that, like the controls still. You could do that. Just I feel like having blend, I don't know, it feels like it's confusing because you're not thinking about activating. You're thinking about just changing the opacity of something, but that's just a me thing. That maybe not be a universally agreed upon thing. And then, yeah, it looks like for this, you just haven't hidden your code, which is fine. That's just a matter of hiding the page, which this does pretty good. Let's see, what kind of code you got in here? Let's see, so yeah, you name the exact node names, which is good and bad. Something that I've been curious about doing is in a code block like this, or on the actual button. You know how if you have multiple of the same node in a comp, it changes the names of the nodes inside of the macro. So anything you have hard coded into your code is just doesn't work anymore, like because the numbers at the ends of the nodes are now different. So like they're no longer wwpb, it's now wwpb_1 or whatever. My theory is maybe we can detect if our node is not the same as, or like if the node that we're looking for does not exist, If it does not exist, then check if the node has a different number at the end. And if it has a different number at the end, then update the node that we're looking for to have that different number. And I think there may be a way to do that, but it may not work well inside of a code block or inside of a button, because sometimes more complex things in Lua crash executing it through a button or a code block, so that may not work at the same time. But also in theory that would also work, but it just would take extra code to do that, to like figure out the looping logic. It was in post question, you think? Discord chat in post question. Post question is not a channel. I don't know what you mean. The help channel, I'm assuming. I know you and P, or someone in P was talking about it a lot. About something a lot. They're talking about folders right here. Are we talking about the multiple nodes? So you guys actually do solve like having multiple nodes in the comp that have the different names? If like, you know, you put it, yeah, put it into there afterwards. Where? I see if expression do this, if non-expression do that. User monitors resolution. An issue with installing marker trimmer. Re-render frame, which was deleted. Adding resolve FX node through script. Console to comp script. Referencing time on a button. Code not being evaluated, and then my example question. I don't see anything talking about like... Oh yeah, no, it's macro. Okay. Turn off on buttons. Is that relative references? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. So this is when you guys talk about it. Oh yeah, this is his code right here. So how did you guys figure it out then? Okay, so you guys found the name. If it matches, then return. What about if it doesn't match, though? Ah, I think I see. I don't know. I'll take a look at it some more. But yeah, it looks like you guys are searching through all the nodes. But how are you knowing if it's matching? If it just has any part of the string in it? Okay. Yeah, because string.find is like, if any of that is inside of here, then take it, right? Yeah. Okay, so there is a way to do it. Yeah, obviously they do have to do some extra stuff with it, but there is a way to make sure that even if you have multiple of the same macro, that it won't have problems. So like if I bring in this one now, make a copy of it, and if I change this to be blocks, this one is still just sign. That's actually kind of cool. So does it check the number at the end of the base node? This is the wrong place. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at this some more. Checks the first node, so it checks the macro itself. Why did you highlight it? Okay. Can I make this bigger? Make this full screen. Open full view. Yeah. This is really bothering me, by the way. The fact that this variable is just stuck over here. You tried first with the ID of each node, but then I don't know why you ended up using a solution. I mean, the ID of the nodes is just like background, media in. The names of them is more specific because the names of them is unique to each node, but the IDs are all the same for like each kind of node, because that's like the type, which you guys are using right here. Yeah. Okay, so you were using like a number ID to track which one it is, but then you just were like comparing it to, so like you compared the original string to what you found as the current node. Macro table. Is macro table being used? Yes. Find. Yes. Okay. Yes. The Thule ID, yes. Okay. So Peej in his code block. He's using the registered ID with the tool ID. Which is, yep. So we're looking for a background. If we found a background, then increase A by 1 and set the desired child's name, which would be, I'm guessing this name, to be the name of the node that has the ID of that. Is there only one background? That's what that looks like to me, is that there's only one background in the comp. But I may just be not reading that correctly. I think he also posted about how to do it in the wiki section. He did make a wiki post. I did not read it though. He did that in Fusion scripting. Ah, okay. Maybe this would belong more in macros. But I don't know. Either one, it probably would work. By the way, this is a modification I have that's technically against TOS for Discord. I can also stream in like original quality as well in Discord because of this. Let's see. Yeah, so this is his template. Okay, yeah, this is the exact same thing we just saw. Okay. Well, I'll definitely be using this for future macros, and I'll definitely do a video on this. Like after I'm finished with the releasing the macro creator, I am going to be making just short and sweet videos that just go over like one or two things you can do in macros to do cool things, like how to do special things. Like I'm going to teach how to make a animation engine. I'll probably do one for how to select the exact macro, even if there's more than one of the same macro, or however I'm going to rephrase that. Probably more. I'll obviously be thinking of them as I'm working on them, but I'll probably be teaching on this, and I'll definitely give Peej a shout out, obviously. Because obviously he's the one who, he and you both worked on discovering it. Yeah, and then I can go into here and change macro type, which is a thing in the new macro creator for those of you who don't know. Okay. He has two things called the same node. Oh, he's taking the name. He's taking the name because he's okay. So how are we? When are we inserting desired children into a table? Oh no, A is a number index. Oh, okay. So that's just a number index. That change was smooth. That's cool. What change was smooth? Oh no. I don't even know what I'm paying attention to. Let's see here. Then we're finding the name, so we're taking the desired children table, and we're looking for this specific tool. The change between a group and a node, the normal node. Oh yeah, the quick change thing. Yes, it's really nice. It breaks some specific, like really specific nodes. I don't know why. I haven't been able to like figure out why some things break but some don't. Like if I have a modifier on here, I believe it will duplicate the modifier, which is dangerous. Like if I add calculation on here, we can see, let's rename this to calc. And if I change the macro type and take a look, I know it still is just calc. Maybe I'm not really looking, maybe I'm not thinking of the same thing. But something I think would break that. Yeah, something I think duplicates. Oh no, it's when you refresh the tool when you add a control. I don't think it does that now that it's built into Resolve, but it used to. I'm pretty sure it used to. Like if I had a curve on this, and then we rename, or like we added a control to this. Yeah, it doesn't do it anymore because you no longer have to refresh the tool. Because I think it's probably built in now. But you used to have to like refresh the tool to get it to show up, the new control to show up, which would remove this and re-add this, because what refreshing the tool is deleting and undeleting a node, which would, by definition, duplicate modifiers. So I wonder if they've actually made a better way to do that built in inside of the API that I don't know. Because I am looking at a document from like 2014 or earlier. So I could just be out of date with my knowledge. I will look into that though, because that is interesting. I wonder if you don't have to delete the node anymore. But yeah, let's take a look at some more of Wave Warp here real quick. So we are taking the desired tool, so we're trying to find a tool name if it's a part of any part of this name. If it is, then return the tool. So if this is creating the index of everything. So if the tool that we're currently looking at, which has been classified as a background node, has the same name, or has the name of what we're looking for is still inside of this string of the name, then it will return the full version of the node. That's not making a lot of sense, I'm sure, but it makes sense to me now. Yeah, so that makes sense. So first off, you're finding all the nodes that are of your ID, and then you're finding from those nodes which one has your desired node name in it somewhere as its name. So that's, yeah, cool. That makes sense now. Type or use up arrows to change value. Type or use up arrow to change value. There is no up arrow. Do you mean this? Like use your num keys on the board? That, oh, I'm crashing, I think. No, we're good. I'm just tall. I'm tall now. And this is how you get your triangles. Okay. It's like one of those broken things. Like film reels, I think, is what I'm thinking of. Pretty cool. And then mapping, yeah, that's just like where the wave is being influenced. Pretty cool stuff. And this is a comment. This is just extra information, I think. Because that's not really... Okay, you're reading... You're reading 0 and 0, which is interesting. What is this meant to be reading from? Is that node still in here? WWCR output. So this output, or the height and width, I guess. Yeah, there's no height and width. It's just X, Y offsets. Or maybe it has a hidden value of height and width. But at the same time, it's also not giving you any actual numbers. And this one doesn't have the expression on it. Interesting. Okay, and this is just... I think this is probably temporary expressions for these. This also may just be out of date. He may just not have this finished yet. Oh, it may be 0 because there's no input yet? Yeah, that was it. There was just no input. So yeah, it just outputs the width and height that is being put into it. And it doesn't have to be auto-cropped again, which is interesting. What I don't understand about the auto-crop tool is that I feel like you have to press auto-crop every time to get it to crop things right. Like if I had this on a different size timeline, I feel like it'd mess things up. Maybe I just don't understand the auto-crop tool. What else we got? You guys got any other tools that I can be taking a look at? Any more questions of any kind? Ignore my magic camera, which also half gets me right. I do. Yeah, I do know how to execute a Lua script from code because I do that in the macro creator. I just have to get back to that code real quick. It's a bit of scrolling. Not help. This would be in add, which is you. So I cannot type this in chat. I don't think so anyway. It took in the formatting. Will that send? It did send. And why does it want me to sign into the chat? I don't understand. So if you give it a context of where it's being run from, like comp, app, resolve, tool, then it will act as if it is being ran from that specific thing. So if you give it a specific tool to run from, then you can run a tool script using that tool's information. So use that as you will. If that did send, I think it did. I can see it at least. I'm still concerned about it saying to sign into chat. I don't know what that means. It's honestly not as hard as it would seem. Have you checked out any of Godsend Media's Cronny's templates? I don't think I have. I also don't think I said his name correctly there. Let me go to my channel so I can find it better, because I don't know if I actually have ever seen his videos. Where do I find his stuff? I really wish they had an easier way to like search your subscribers, but I also feel like that could be a problematic thing to add. Now I just need to know how to translate that into JavaScript. I think I know, but I need to try. Yeah, JavaScript is something that I need to look into, along with the whole workflow integration. I have talked to Tom, who's working on making SnapPod, and he's also the one who made auto subs. He hates working with workflow integrations because there's so little information about it, and it's even worse than scripting is. Like, there's so little about it, it is so hard to figure anything out. And the only information that you probably could go off of is Electron's like documentation, but there's no direct information about how to do the resolve stuff, to my knowledge. Maybe there's some information inside of the text file README inside of the developer section of Resolve, but I don't know. I need to look into that after I'm done with my project. He has some where you take like 5 clips and turn them into a slideshow. How do you build things like that? Like a macro, like he used a macro to do that. That's a loaded question. Which part of it do you need help on? Like which part of it would you need help to figure out? Because putting the clips in there is just a matter of having 5 media ins, and then giving the user access to the clip name part of the media in, which is just as much as giving them that control. And then you can have them change the images inside the slideshow. And then if you want to animate the slideshow, that's up to you. How's it going, Essential? How you doing? Any crazy news over there? Working on anything fun? Oh yeah, by the way, I got another crazy subscriber. This was just out of the blue. I think this morning I looked at my phone and all of a sudden Creative Video Tips was subscribed to me. And if you know who that is, he's pretty popular. He also just uploaded a video the same day I did mine. So that's also why I'm a little bit surprised. He just subscribed to me. He hasn't commented or anything. He's just there. And I don't know, did somebody mention me in his comments or something? Because how did he find me so fast? Because what? Right? Growing something. My ego, mostly. I don't know if it's considered a macro or template. Macros and templates are basically the same thing. Don't know if I can explain. He has a video showing it off, but he selects all the clips and then like drop down an effect on them and boom. He makes good videos. Henry, creative videos, I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but I do know that his videos are pretty fire. I just don't always watch everybody. I don't have time. And if I don't feel like the video is going to be super important to me, I'll be like, I'll maybe watch that later. Jeez. I don't see my tag anywhere. Like, no one's tagged me directly, so I wonder how he found me. It was the same day he posted his video, so that's why I'm over here thinking somebody had to mention me. That's my only assumption. You're into the characters in chat. I was gonna say, I don't think that was a full thought. Alright, let me try to find, so, Godsend Media. Can I just type that in and will it work? It will! Sick. Resolve auto captions suck. I'm curious about that, what that one's about. This Resolve plugin's impressive. Oh hey, it's Motion Suite. That is a pretty good one. Haven't seen any info about that. I have my plugin done and working, at least the base. The thing is, I still need to manually run a Lua script to get the info back into Resolve. Yeah. Yeah, because you need to actually like feed Resolve the code to execute what you need to do for what you're doing. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out because workflow integrations need work. Okay, so you're saying he has some kind of slideshow. Here, let me find. He has a store. Yeah, here we go. Products. All products. Working on that. I want to figure it out too, but not right now. Everything is free for him. There's like a couple of products that aren't. Okay. There was so many things on there where just said like originally $5 whatever dollars, now free. Let's see. Do you know what the pack is called, Sleeveless? Because I will take a look at that to see what he's doing. Oh, he's got texture overlays too. Or paper overlays. Same thing. Two-tone, retro pack, one-on-one coaching, zoom presets. You're looking. Freeze frame, flashing visual effects. I don't know what that means. That doesn't tell me much. Fake camera motion. That could be cool. Is that like a fake 3D camera motion? That'd be wild. Essential editors pack. He's been doing this stuff for a minute. He's really dropped some of his prices though. Like, to concerning amounts. Like, people need to buy more of his stuff because he keeps dropping his prices. Like, he had a $150 product that he's dropped down to $20. I don't know if that's intentional marketing or if he did that because no one was buying it. I don't know. I think out of stock. What does he use for his site? Shopify. Okay. I didn't know. Oh yeah, they have blogs. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I don't want to use some of these sites because I don't want to have to make a blog or have a blog as like being the main priority about what they want out of you for that website. Like, geez, he has like so many discounts and everything. Like with like WordPress or whatever. You like are forced to write a blog along with having all the other pages if you have shops or anything. So, don't know, just more annoying. I don't see a pack in here. Camera shutter effect. Are you thinking of the same person? Is it maybe a different YouTuber you're thinking of? Or maybe he just doesn't have it in there right now? Stock frame effects. These are just frames for images. Music video effects. Paper fold. Hey, wait a second. Boost, redux, my nose. It's in a video. I'm looking at this channel right now, trying to see it. Let me see. Can I just Google, like, I don't know if he's gonna call it a slideshow, but maybe. Slideshow. Edit to the beat. DaVinci Resolve feature. Full video effects music tutorial. 4K texture overlays. Just free preset. Descriptive, I like it. Oh, there's a collage plugin. Is that what you're talking about? Let's see. No, shush. I'll turn on the captions. Hold on. I have to get this over here. Ugh. Well, if it looks like I'm moving my head around a lot, I am. These screens are big and they're far apart. Okay. Give us your knowledge. So this is made by Motion VFX, but is this the one you're thinking of, maybe? So if you're putting a bunch of clips on top of each other, layering them up, getting them ready, and then you put the collage stuff onto it directly. Is this what you're talking about? Is this the same effect? You need to make your inspector longer, dude. I can't see anything. It's not what I asked. So, are you asking how he did this? Because this is mostly just Fusion tomfoolery. Best way I can describe it, I think. Sleeveless. Why my camera so off? Come on, bring it back. I think maybe I was thinking of about the stock frame one, but it seems different than you remember. Stock frame. Hold up. Let me Google. No, not Google, but let me search stock frame. Let me try this one out. Stock frame transitions. Let me see this this tool. Don't bring up the chapters. Don't do that. Let me see this. Do my videos always look this blurry to you guys? Like, whenever I zoom in on stuff, does it look this bad for you guys? I don't know if it looks this bad to you guys, but it looks bad. Like that's some OBS eating up your quality kind of shit. Because I feel like it's a matter of having your bitrate much higher than he has it. Because my bitrate is pretty much maxed. Like it's like I have some huge files whenever I record my videos, but it gets you the quality that you see in my videos. Like you can zoom in on stuff and you won't see grain or just grain. You'll actually be able to like see it and it looks good, and like it won't just look like crap. Not to say that this is like an awful video or whatever, not to like make bad feelings towards this video or whatever. I don't know how to phrase that better. But also, you never know if the person even has the space to do it. Like having a hard drive that I can just upload that to is nice. I think YouTube quality is a lot by the viewer's internet connection affected. Well, yes, but I'm also on the 4K setting. But the 4K setting should be high quality. In fact, we can look at this right now. We can look at this right now and compare. I want to see, does mine, stop going to Orson. I've gone to Orson a few times, and now it thinks that that's just where I want to go. Okay, let's take a look at one of my recent videos here. Let's take a look at this video. What's a small thing that I zoomed in on? This is kind of small, but it's not as small as the other thing. But another thing is, he didn't zoom in on it. He just, like, isolated it. He didn't zoom in on anything. A lot of the stuff I zoomed in on wasn't very small. Okay, the smallest thing I zoomed in on was the node. When did I do that? So I remember zooming in on that node specifically, and it was kind of a weird zoom. It was very zoomed in. Where did I do this? Up here? Oh, I did zoom in on the center of the screen a lot too. Is this high quality? This camera's bad. I know that. This camera needs work. Ignore the shirt. Yeah, if we're zoomed in this far, this still looks pretty good. I don't know. Definitely my settings are pretty good. Hey, look, 12 likes, guys. 12 comments, too. Any new comments, guys? No, I didn't like this one. Hold on. I got you. I heart it, too. Back to this. Okay, so how do you set this up? Oh, this looks like... Oh. This is doing it how you do it in, like, After Effects or Premiere Pro, which I despise, personally. At least that's what I'm getting from looking at this. Can I get my camera? Thank you. Over here now. Down here. Not up here. Okay. Oh, no, sorry, down here. Good enough. Okay, this looks like, yeah, you have edit, final, others. Yeah, this looks like the same thing you would do for After Effects or Premiere Pro for making like a preset project, which I don't like those. If you've talked to me after working, or after seeing my videos, or I guess if you're talking to me before making the videos, because I haven't talked about it much since then, but I despise these kinds of presets because everything you can do like this, you can make in a single template macro with built-in Fusion systems. You don't have to make it as if you're making it in After Effects with 1,000 layers. You can put all of that into a macro, unless you're using video. If you're using specifically videos inside of the macro itself to do different things, then you, I guess, will need to have a project or assets folder. Same thing with audio if you want to do that. Have like an audio pack and like video assets pack so that the user can link to those. I don't know. That is also a huge issue with Fusion stuff, is that you can't package up videos or audio. But you couldn't ever package stuff audio up anyway, but I wish you could package up video into a macro. That'd be really nice, but I can also see that becoming a problem with like file size, because those are big files sometimes. But yeah, long story short, I don't like this way of making templates, because I feel like it's a cheap way to do it and very easy to duplicate After Effects and Premiere Pro presets without putting in really much effort to just change some things to make it work for DaVinci. So you've seen how I do my thumbnail transitions for my videos yet. You don't recommend doing it like he does? What do you mean? I'm saying I don't like having this as like a preset template you can sell to people or give to people, because this feels cheap to give to people. Why not try to make it into an actual like template pack? Why make it into a complicated multi-folder, multi-timeline project that most people don't want to have to mess with and try to like figure out which specific file inside of this I need to change to get this one thing to do what I need it to do to customize this thing, and there's less controllability because half the stuff isn't made in Fusion, so you can't control it after the fact. So a lot of it's more annoying and more of a hassle for the user to actually customize it more accurately to how they want it sometimes. Once again, I have not used this though, so I cannot say for sure if that's how it is. I mean, if you're going to give away your thumbnail transition, I don't recommend doing it like that. But if you are going to just use that internally, I don't care. It's up to you. That's you. That's how you want to do it. But I just don't feel like giving that away is as clean as you could do it. Especially if you're just using images and not using any video or audio. There's a much cleaner ways to do that kind of stuff. But this is all opinion. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm going to like hate them for doing certain things. Do whatever the hell you want. It's just, in my vision of the future for DaVinci macros and presets and templates, I only see macros. I don't see weird projects like this you can see all over Envato and Motion Array that don't work half of the time. Which is also a big gripe of mine. I hate Motion Array and Envato, which is why my first video was teaching people how to install those files, because they don't teach you how to do that well, and a lot of this stuff's broken. It's super great stuff. What would I do? A macro with loader nodes? Either loader nodes or media end nodes, depending on however you want to handle the media. Like loader nodes would be able to... How many lines does the macro creator have? I'll look that up here in a second. Is there anything showing that's super important right now? I don't think so. Okay. I would say loader nodes linking to local files inside of the macro, like inside of the DRFX or folder that the macro is in. But if you want the user to input a layer of something, like if you want the user to input, say, one of the cards for your intro, then have that as a media end node, and they can just drag it and drop that from the media pool, and then they can just easily put that in there, so they don't have to do much work. Like they just drag it from the media pool, put it into that slot, and it will just set up the animation for them. Just by like having that as like a asset, they just kind of put it in and dynamically change what it is. But if there's anything like that's static that won't be changed by the user, definitely a loader node connecting to a baked-in image inside the DRFX. Which I do make videos about that previously. Like I had whole videos talking about that kind of stuff. But the macro creator has 700 and... nope, that's not right. 7,725 lines. And growing, because there's a lot more that needs to get added. But I do want to let everyone know I have made a Lua module for DaVinci Resolve, specifically DaVinci Resolve, because otherwise you have to install a bunch of extra stuff if you want to use this in other softwares. But all of this jargon at the top doesn't mean much. It just basically says I own the copyright, but also you can use this however you want. There's no limitations. But this has to be in all copies of the file. Gotcha. I'm really just tired of messing with my saved node tree every time. I don't know what that means specifically. Like, you don't like having to keep adding stuff, changing stuff. I'm not sure which. Like, I don't know the whole situation there, so I guess I can't really. I don't have a big idea of what that means, I guess. But to do this, you just install it to one of these locations. I tell you just to use one of the folders. Here's an example you can set up to send an HTTP request to just test it. There's a website that you can set up a bin that you can send stuff to, and it'll give you it'll generate a link. You can see my little tutorial there. But you just send it super easily. In another file, we can just go here. I'll just bring in everything here. I'll bring in the example. So first we bring the module into the script. HTTP is now our variable for our module, and we can see all the things we can do with it. We can send a delete, a get, a patch, a post, and a put request. We can also see what version it's on, which is 1.0. You can get your links here to set up your test endpoint, and you can put in that email or that URL that you get from making your request bin. The header should be fine by default, but you may also have to add something extra. And whenever you send an actual HTTP request, these are going to have to be like actually filled out for their desired things. You then give a body that's in JSON or whatever format is specified here. But generally, even formatting it like this sends it fine. And then you do http.post. You put in your URL, your header, and your body. But if we look at post, we can also see you can put in a username and password. That's what UNP are. So if you need to authorize a connection of some kind, you can authorize it with a username and password, and that should work. To like encode it, you can use base64 and then just decode it before sending it. So like there's a base64 decoder in my script, for example, which is somewhere. I put it way up here. So I have this little function that will just decode a string of base64. I believe this is just doing... I actually don't know what format it's doing. Probably just a default like ASCII or something. I don't think that's the right term for it. But I think like a standard format for base64 decoding is what that uses. There are different ways of decoding and encoding, so there are like something to keep in mind, but I think the most basic one is the one that it uses. So then you just feed your data into this to decode it, and then you put that as your the username and password, which you can just put in like base 64 decode, and then you can put in your information. And then the password. Stop trying to save stuff. And that's how you would handle that. This is the best way to keep it secure. Obviously, it's not 100% because anybody who comes into here could still figure out what your password is by looking at it and like decoding it themselves. But this is an extra layer of security that makes it harder for people to figure out. This is just like a common thing that's been used, I've heard, when you can't like obfuscate, which I don't think is possible with Lua, unless somebody has more information about that, because I would love to be able to obfuscate some of this code. If I could only obfuscate like a part of the code, that'd be brilliant, because only a part of it needs like obfuscated for just general safety reasons. I don't want to have a security risk, which is potential. If people try really, really hard, they could try. But I feel like that's with anything. Stop trying to save stuff. This is a bunch of other reasons why I'm like putting off the release. There's just a lot of stuff I have to figure out. But another module that has been created, not by me, but by somebody else, is... I'll find it. Maybe I won't. I lied. I'll just go through here. There's logs now. You're able to save and load into logs. It separates it out by day inside of the file, but each file is per month. And it will only ever store up to 3 months at a time. And it will store every single open and close you do. And it saves it per day, but there was a bug that I had to squash earlier today. Because for some reason it wasn't reading this as a date. Don't know why. But we can see a bunch of stuff that I've triggered. We can see when it loads in my tools, when it verifies my information. We can see when the UI opens and closes, and we can see if it deletes any logs. Also, I have been digging around the scripting stuff built into Resolve. If you guys didn't know, if you go up to Help, Documentation, and Developer, there's a bunch of stuff you can look at here. Like for workflow integrations, there's a bunch of stuff going over how to set that stuff up and how to use some of those things and how to like set up different functions and events and buttons and all that kind of stuff. Stuff I need to look into because I'm going to be working on that next, I think, along with some cool examples and some scripts, which may actually help some of these things. Which probably is what you're looking at, Henry, if I had to guess, is you probably have looked at some of these to get examples of stuff. So, okay, so we can bring in a workflow integration node, okay. So we configure the file com. Interesting. If you don't know why I'm curious about com, the way Atom files are set up, it starts off with com, same way this is set up, so I wonder if they use the same sort of thing. You haven't looked at those examples? Dude, these could be really helpful. Like this is JavaScript, but it looks... I mean, it's reading it in JavaScript. It confused me because it's like same color scheme as Lua for my like interpreter, so it confused me there. But so yeah, we have Blackmagic Design Resolve sample plugin. So this would just be the ID of your a window, which by the way, I don't know why we have a Python workflow integration example. I don't understand this because this is the exact same thing as their sample plugin, just written in Python. That ID is the manifest file. So we're going to here, manifest, and this is where you provide the ID. Okay. So then you do com, I guess, overarching company name, if there is an overarching company, your company name or your name, and then the plugin name, I guess. I don't think this probably has to follow exact protocols of naming schemes right here, but as long as I think you keep it all the same, probably is fine. But yeah. Adding bin, add subfolder. This looks like it's the same. Yeah, this is the exact same formatting for all the other stuff. Like name and plugin and that stuff. Yeah, I don't think it really matters too much until you like end up releasing it, and then it's like, okay, let's try to figure out some of these details. But yeah, it looks like all the names of the functions, or whatever they're called, the modern fields and operations functions. I don't know. It looks like they're all called the same thing. So I'm willing to bet that it'd be fairly easy to make this. I mean, fairly easy is very broad terms here, but it'd be easy enough to translate Lua script into this. There is your solution. Yes, this seems fairly easy. Alerts. Oh, is this the same thing as error in Lua? If you guys didn't know, in Lua, you know how you guys can do a print? I don't know if I have a good example of this. Is scripting really needed for normal video editors? If you don't want to do automations, then no. But if you want to automate processes, then that's a great thing to do. But also, like, snap captions is a thing. SnapPod. All these things are automations still. But I'm making a new macro creator, which is great for making templates for people who want to make templates. Which isn't an everyday editor's thing, but you can still do a lot of automations and stuff for the edit page and color. And you can generate captions automatically from a script, which is pretty cool. You can do a bunch of different crazy things with it, but if you don't need to automate stuff, most likely you don't need it. Don't know why you didn't look at that. Honestly, I always forget about it too. I asked on the forum, like, hey, where can I find the new documentation for scripting? Check the documentation folder, or the developer folder, I guess. Ah, of course. That makes sense. Of course it does. By the way, this is my wall of links. It's great. Get rid of that. Just clearing out some things that don't need to be open. There we go. Do we want to look at some more new things with the new macro creator? So for those of you who are on the Discord, you may have seen some of these new things. Something I don't think I've shown off is the labels. I don't think I showed this off last time because I don't think it was done last stream. But when you add a label, I have an intruder in here. When you add a label, you can set a name. I'll just say my label just because. And we can set an amount. We can obviously still customize how it looks and all that. We can add it. But now when we add other controls, the other controls now display if they're visually inside of that nested label now. You can even collapse it and hide the controls that are in there. And if you change this number, so let's include 2 more, so 7, to get all the color in there, it'll update. And you can go in reverse. Just like that. And if you uncheck this, they'll all reset to default, and this is just a normal label now. If you turn it on, it goes back to 0, but you can set it back up to do all the way up to 7 again, and all that stuff is pretty cool. There's some bugs with it and stuff right now, like reordering with these buttons doesn't work right with this. Also, if you have a control that's being inserted, you can't edit it after it's been added. That should only ever happen for another label, because if you try to change a label's hide number while it's inside of another label, it'll crash, resolve. So I have tried to avoid that, but it's bugged, so I just gotta fix it. These can still be edited just fine. These are just bugging out. These ones that weren't in, oh no, these ones are still. If they were in here before I added or changed this number, then you could still edit those. But since I removed it and then added it back, and then it all did the thing. So this is really cool. I really like this. Something that I need to resolve though is if you uncheck having a label, don't remove all the controls from inside of it, just for safety reasons. But at the same time, if you're going to uncheck a label, understand that everything's going to go with it. But I don't know. I feel like for safety, I do need to add that, like, hey, if there's stuff inside of here, remove the stuff first, then remove the label that you want to remove. But yeah, something I just got to figure out more. More stuff to add to the list of stuff to do. Let me think about what else we got. We can also now deactivate your license from here. You can get the support plan from here. There's an about the new macro creator, about macros, and about reactor. You can suggest a feature, you can report a bug. I have a whole tutorials page with every single thing you could possibly think to have to do with this tool. Check for updates, see if you're on the most recent version. We can open Tito's control editor, which this is how I'm running this script like as a separate thing. Like this is a different file inside of the files. Look, this is just being ran separately. And then we have you can add all these. You can also add a spacer now. Just spacer is kind of cool. I'll add one in here, and I'll just add an inline image, sure, because I haven't actually used this in a minute. I'll just grab the Snap Ultimate one, sure, and I won't make it a header, but we'll just give it Snap Ultimate. Jeez, that was so unexpected. And then we add that. It may take a second or have an error. That was an error. I'm not converting it. Okay, let's choose a different file. The problem is I have path map in here, not an actual path, so it can't read a path map. So let's not use one from in here. Let's just grab an image from in here. In fact, I'll just grab a logo. I'll grab this guy. And we'll just say my logo. There we go. Add that now. Now if we look in here, it's probably hard to tell, but there is actually a space up here. The spacer will add like basically a separator line, but with nothing actually visibly there. So it just adds like a gap. Let's see, what else maybe we got? We can open up all these folders, including the logs folder, so you can see what logs you have. Which I just did that here because this is already opened. Yeah, because it's already open, so I wouldn't have opened it again. And you can, open up like your macros, templates, settings. These are all built-in things in DaVinci. You can edit expressions. This takes a second to load. Sometimes it has a bug. I'll have to look into why that's happening sometimes. Sometimes all of these have a bug. I think it's just with the search algorithm I'm doing to try to figure out which ones have the controls I need. But the button code works fine. And then the text one may crash, may work. Like, yeah, some of these things just need more work done. This just may be actually just loading. I don't actually know. Oh no, it's crashing. Great. Yeah. Shit like this is why this is taking an extra week. Because there's shit that just is broken that I have to look into and try to figure out still. So that's something that'll be done later. I'm going to be working on some non-coding stuff for a couple of days. Maybe even like for the first half of this week. Trying to get some stuff ready to send out to make it actually like officially look done. And then the rest of the week's going to be bug fixing and QA testing, like quality assurance. And then, well, we're still crashing DaVinci. Give me a second. Let me close it. In fact, I may have to force quit it. But there's also another feature I have not shown off yet. I have shown it off to Discord, so if you're on the Discord, then you probably are aware of this. But there's this really cool new feature. You've never heard of it. It's called reopening macros. I have gotten this about 80% to completion, I think. I need to add handling for finding a control that's within the list of custom controls that I create. If it is one of those controls that you create with the new macro creator, then give it a special label, well, like a special background color. And if it's a label, then give it the special controls that it needs inside the preview. To explain that really quick, by the way, I can just do Shift M because I have Resolve Essentials. Like all of these, I need these all to have different colors. Like when you add a label, it has a color. When you have all these, it has a color. But if you add one of them from over here, like if we grab our controls node and go down here and grab our label, we don't actually see the buttons or the background color. Plus we have information that's not needed to see. You can't see that. If we add a label, then we have this. Like this is grabbing it from another node, not grabbing it, like creating it directly. So if you just grab it, then you don't have these extra controls, and these are still looking like this. So that needs resolved for whenever you add a control into the preview that's like that. But also, when you add, or when you open up a macro, so we can just open up it with an empty comp, it'll just load in with the UI. If we open macro, I'll bring in my test.dr macro. It'll load in all the buttons, controls, inputs, and we can see everything in here. And I know that there's something that's not quite right because this up here is a label and these would need to be nested, but they're not because this isn't actually working as a label. It only detects it as a label if there's a checkbox here, but there's not a checkbox there. So that one needs, like I said, you need to have the things determine what things are and label them and show them correctly and update the information in here. But we do bring in everything just fine, and we have the custom names for things. Like, we didn't just bring in the raw name for red one, we brought in color instead of the ID or the traditional name. So yeah, really quick and easy reloading of nodes. Even your inputs are reselected. Your outputs are obviously selected because your output is whatever is on the output there. But also if you had other outputs selected, it also goes and select it here too. Right now, I think for release, it's only going to support macros that were made with the macro creator, because there are certain things that I need to code that'll take extra time to just account for different things. Like there's a bunch of different things you can put into all these different tables, like the inputs, the outputs, the user controls, and the tools tables, which are all the different categories of things inside of a macro, if you didn't know, which I'll talk about breaking down a macro file another day, because those are interesting to look at and break down because they're just tables. Like down to the simplest form, they're just a simple table. And it's just a matter of reading the table like a table. Or it's more probably easy to understand that it's close to JSON in a way. Like the formatting of the actual file is pretty much just JSON. JSON, I don't care. So it's a matter of just reading it like a table. Sorry, I'm saying the same thing a couple of times in a row because I'm just like that, I guess. Yes, Henry, dab on the coolness. Yeah, that's so cringe. The 24-year-old is dabbing. Kill it with fire. Oh, it also takes the name of the file. Oh no, this is the name of the actual node inside of it. I did also remake how you export macros. I don't know if I've shown this off in a stream, but you're able to put in the name if it's going to be different from up there. You can export it as a DRFX. You can tell it to export as a fusion effect, an edit effect, or both. If you choose edit, this will change to have the regular old edit options. But if you choose fusion, you have searchable macro, which is the if you do shift space, that's what this menu is. You can search for macros this way. Or an effects panel over here in the effects, you can have macros show up over there. Or both. This only really determines what kind of README file is going to be generated, because I can't actually make DRFXs to bring you to these, but it will just tell you how to install them. It will do its best to lead you in the right direction. And then we have whatever company folder or author folder you want to have one. And then extra folders. You can have different folders separated by slashes, and that will read correctly. You can bring in a thumbnail for your macro. So we'll just choose my one that I keep using. You can export the loader images from your macro. So like these two nodes right down here, these are both loaders. They both have images inside of them that you can bring with the macro. And you can export the README, you can make it a group operator or a macro operator, and you can save all these options for next time. And, hold on, we can also rename our main inputs and outputs. So we can use names like main input, main output, or for the inputs, we can say effect mask, background, foreground, source. We can use all sorts of names like that, and certain things will actually change what the color of the input is. If you have the ID set to effect mask, it'll have the blue input like an effect mask. It won't just have the default macro input, which I think is like the yellow or whatever color. And then we can, I'll just choose a folder test to show you guys that. And we can just export to, we can choose a location. I'm going to choose my desktop, macro testing, save to that folder. Bam, it's saved. Let's navigate to that now. So we'll go to my desktop, test, macro testing. We have the fusion folder because we have it as a fusion effect as both. So then the README file reads as zip up the Fusion folder because you can turn the you can turn this into a macro. Oh, this is wrong. It shouldn't be doing that. This, I think, isn't even supposed to happen unless it's an actual DRFX. Because you can't have multiple folders inside of here if you have a fusion effect. So that just is probably an oversight on my part. Oop, did not mean to click that. And it looks like things are duplicating the names. Okay, so it looks like there's a bug. This was working not too long ago, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, test is adding... Okay, no, I see what's happening. So this test folder, has created itself a folder, but it's also added its name in front of everything inside of this folder, because that's just how the string is set up to create the files. So it's almost working to remove the folder, but it's just barely not quite there. So if we removed this and exported this as a regular edit page title, then we should have it working correctly. So let's go into test again, export it into macro testing, and take a look at this. And now we can see the README has changed. It's now asking you to zip up the edit folder and make it a DRFX. And in here we can see titles, my company name, the folder name, and then all the files in here correctly. This is what it should have looked like the first time, but bugs happen. But now we can see this is the thumbnail. This is what the My Cool Space template was called, but it changed the name to be test because that's what it needs to do to get it to read as that thumbnail. And then these are the two files that were inside of the loader nodes. And these are now inside of the test.settings file as an actual readable file to, like it's saying, check in the folder that this file is in and look for these two names and then fill that in to the loader. So if we open up another comp just to show that off, to hopefully make more sense, we can bring this in, and if we preview it, it actually will preview because it's looking for the images right here next to it. If we were to unpackage this with our script for changing macro type, you can see these images are set to look in the folder that the setting file is in and look for this image. And that's what these both are set to. In the original comp, these are set to the actual folder location. So that actually changes what these say. I saw that in here, it actually works. And I have this input here because it had an input originally. This input also works fine. You can have your text in there all you want. It does have a weird clipping issue because I didn't set this up right, but yeah. Even the inputs work. And if you hover over it, it may still say foreground when you hover over it directly, but if you look in the bottom left, it says main input. It says foreground because the node it came from, that input was called foreground, and you can't set input names. You can only set the input IDs, which changes how it looks. So I feel like that was more important. But like you literally just can't set an input name. I've tried. It just removes that value from the list. Pretty cool stuff. Obviously, you have all your simple macro adding features, like you can add all your controls. You can slightly customize the controls, like your the default, the mains, or the mins, the maxes, the middle, crazy stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's all the new stuff. Oh yeah, I guess one other new thing is I've changed how you install it. Now all you have to do is just run a command in either PowerShell for Windows or in just a terminal for Mac and Linux. Mac needs tested still, but I believe Linux works fine. I just need to actually test it on a computer that actually has DaVinci that can load it, because I just tested it on a VM, a virtual machine, and I couldn't actually use my hard drive to test DaVinci to see if the folders went to the right places. I could maybe run it in headless mode, but I don't know if I could see if the scripts are in the correct spots. I don't know if I'd be able to see that. Someone may have to let me know about that. But if not, I do have somebody who is willing to help if they have a job by then, because they do want to buy the macro creator before testing it. I also would like them to do that too, but yeah, we're getting pretty close. Like now we're just in the final stages, trying to fix things that aren't quite working 100%, or just add links to things. Oh yeah, one other change I guess would be, I know you can't see me yet. If you don't have certain things, obviously you get these pop-ups that say, please write a macro name or whatever, and they just go away after a while. I have one now that if you don't have a macro that's selected in red, which is the active node, I've changed the wording, so now it says to tell you to please have a node selected in red. You can also now click this link, and it will tag you to a tutorial talking about what you have to do to actually make it work. And that will open up that link after the window closes. Right now, that only is a thing for this error, but I'm going to be updating it to do similar things to other errors that may be more confusing. And as I find other errors that will happen, and I need to like be checking if the user does something or if something goes wrong or the user doesn't do something right, then I have to tell them. But I have to test that and figure out what could be situations where that could be a thing. And then also is a matter of waiting until I release it and waiting to see what people say and hearing the feedback of like, hey, this isn't very clear. Could you explain this more? And I'll just have to add that little pop-up there to make it make more sense. But yeah, there's just the updates from me. Sorry, that was weird. But yeah. Any questions about anything from that or anything in general that I've talked about today or from my video or anything like that? You got to go. Yeah, you have a good time. If you're heading out, I'll see if anyone's sticking around, but I may go ahead and pop out too. Basketball finals finally started. Are you in basketball or do you watch basketball? I'm not a sports guy, so I don't understand the nuances. Nuances? Is that the term I'm looking for? Who cares? Oh, the Olympics. Yes. I haven't really watched it myself. I've just seen like people responding to things from it because it's funny. Oh, USA versus France for basketball. I would personally be surprised if the US doesn't win, but I also don't know how much France does basketball. But it just from that team up, how many other countries is basketball such a like integral part of their country? Because in the U.S. at least, every single like high school and college has a basketball team, and it's like prevalent. Like my school didn't have football, but we had basketball, and we had a lot of basketball. Like we had a stadium for basketball stuff in the city that we were in for my college. I'll see you, Henry. If anyone's still here, please ask any questions. Let me know anything or let me know anything. Ask me anything. If not, I'll be heading out of here then too. Just because I got some things I could be doing, and I got some food I gotta eat because I didn't eat lunch, and it is 4 here. But I think that's maybe gonna be it for the day. I think we talked about some pretty fun stuff, got into some good details of things. I learned some new things today, and gave you guys some good updates on things. I feel like these streams are mostly just me updating people now. Not even like me answering questions. I answer like maybe 5 questions in a stream, and then I just show off what I'm doing because it's some cool stuff, and people seem to like it. But okay, I think that is a good spot to end it. Thank everyone for coming out to the stream and for being a part of the community. I've appreciated the response that I've been getting, and it's really, really nice to see a bunch of people just really happy with development actually happening in the community. It's super cool stuff. And I look forward to seeing more cool stuff from all of you and from ResolveCon. All right, I'll see you. Bye.